to start. Today I'm going to teach you a new lesson, that is busy at work, our internal organs. You know that our internal organs are always busy, and let's see how they are busy. Okay, before that, let's try to recall certain things. Now, look at the picture. What do you see here? Do you know what is this? Which organ is this? Yes, you're right. You have identified it correctly. It is our brain. Do you know where brain is present or where it is situated? It is situated in something called as the skull or the cranial cavity. Okay, you can see that it is present inside some cavity. That cavity is called as cranial cavity or also called as skull. Fine. What is the function of the brain? Do you know that? Yes, the brain helps us in control and coordination. What is control and coordination? That means brain is the main organ of our body which helps in controlling all other functions of the body. Therefore, it helps in controlling as well as coordination of the movements of the different body parts. So this is how our brain helps us in control and coordination, and it is present in something called as cranial cavity. Now let's see the next organ. Do you recognize this organ? Do you know what is this? You can see how it is pumping like this. And do you know what is pumping? Our heart is pumping. So this organ is called as heart. Do you know where it is present? It is present in something called as thoracic cavity, okay, or what we commonly call it as chest. Our chest, inside the chest we have the presence of our heart, and chest is made up of the ribs, and together many ribs forms a rib cage. That together it is called as the chest, or in scientific terms it is called as thoracic cavity. So inside this thoracic cavity our heart is present. Next is our lungs. Can you see this? What is this called as? It is also moving upward and downward. So these are nothing but our lungs. Lungs are also present in the thoracic cavity where heart is present, but heart is situated in between the two lungs. You can see how lungs are also pumping up and down. So it's because it is getting filled with air, and also when it is pumping down it is giving out air. So lungs are present in our chest, okay, also called as the thoracic cavity. Now let's see the next organ which you can see here. So next organ, do you see something, a bag-like structure? Okay, so this is nothing but our stomach. Do you know where stomach is present? Yes, it is just present below the chest in another cavity called as abdominal cavity. So our stomach is present in the abdominal cavity. And this abdominal cavity, the stomach helps in the process of something called as digestion. The food is getting digested because of one of the organ called as stomach. So stomach helps in the process of digestion. Now let's see the next one. Now you know that these organs are always functioning. So whenever you read a book, do you find any sensations in your body? What are the bodily needs or sensation do you become aware of even though you are reading a book? Yes, you're right. When you're reading a book, you'll be finding yourself breathing, okay? Your chest is moving up and down, and even you can feel your heartbeat, okay? So these sensations you become aware of even though you are reading a book. It's because these processes, the processes such as respiration or digestion, okay, are continuously taking place in our body, okay. So processes such as respiration or digestion are taking place continuously with the help of certain organs. So today in this lesson we are going to study different organs of a system, one system called as respiratory system. So now let's learn about what is meant, what is respiration, what is the respiratory system, and which are the parts, which are the organs which helps in respiration. We need air, water and food to live. These are our basic necessities, correct? And it is necessary for the body to get a continuous supply of oxygen, and we get this oxygen from the air through breathing. So that means, like our food or water, we even require oxygen for our body, which is also one of the basic necessities. So since it's a basic necessity, we breathe continuously, and in our body there are organs, the organs that carry out the work of respiration. They are always functioning, they are always in work. Okay, like sometimes we feel very tired and all, but do you think so our body organs are getting tired? No, they work for us. They work continuously 24 into 7 into 365 days. If any one of them stops functioning, you will also stop functioning. That is why they are always working day and night continuously. They cannot stop. If they stop, we will also stop and go up finally. Okay, so they have to work continuously. Now let's see what are the organs which are involved in the process of respiration. You can see that there is nose, mouth, okay, then there is a pipe like structure here which is called as trachea, then there are lungs, okay, and there is a elastic structure called as diaphragm. You can see that there is an elastic structure called as diaphragm, or which is also muscular, and because of these diaphragm, what is happening, its lungs go up and down or move outward and inward just because of this structure called as a diaphragm. Okay, so diaphragm helps the lungs to move up and down. Okay, so which are the parts of the respiratory system? They are nothing but the nose, the mouth. Okay, if not nose, sometimes even when your nose gets choked up, your mouth also start taking in air. Okay, so you will realize when you get cough or cold, so that time your nose is blocked. That time who is helping in respiration? Your mouth helps. So it is also a part of the respiratory system. Then trachea, then two lungs and a diaphragm. And inside the lungs, this trachea goes and divides into two structures called as bronchioles. Okay, so bronchi, and each of these bronchi again divides into smaller fragments called as bronchioles, and at the end of each bronchiole there are sac like structure, air sac. Okay, they are called as alveoli. So let's see little further. Now you can see when we take in air, what is happening. Okay, when we take in air, you'll find that your lungs are coming out, they are getting filled with air, and since they are getting filled with air, they move outward. Whereas when we exhale means when we give out air. There are two processes in respiration. One is inhalation, that is taking in air, and exhalation, that is giving out air. So when we inhale air, you will find that your lungs are moving outward, and because of which your thoracic cavity or your chest also moves outward. When you give out air, you will find that your chest goes down because the lungs goes down. Okay, so that you have to remember what is happening in inhalation and exhalation. Let's see further now what is happening. Okay, so you can see that the trachea, which is moving into the two lungs, is divided into smaller fragments, and which are called as bronchi, and these bronchi again divides into smaller bronchioles, and at the each end you find a bag like structure, air sac, okay, which are called as alveoli, which actually helps in the exchange of gases. So you can see that there is exchange of gases taking place inside the lungs and inside the small structures called as alveoli. Now let's see little further. how does diaphragm helps in respiration? Diaphragm, as I have told you, it is a structure, muscular structure, or it is also called a muscular partition in between the thoracic cavity, that is your chest, and the abdominal cavity, that is your stomach. Okay, where stomach is present, that cavity is called as abdominal cavity. So diaphragm is present in between the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity, and it is also called as elastic or a muscular partition. How does it helps in breathing? How its movement helps in breathing? When the diaphragm moves downward, you will find that the chest moves outward. You can see clearly when the diaphragm moves downward, the chest moves outward. That means it is helping in the lungs to take in air. Whereas when it moves upward, you find that the lungs are actually pushed by this diaphragm. And when the lungs are getting pushed, what will happen? The lungs will give out air. That is, carbon dioxide will be going out. So this is how the diaphragm, the movement of the diaphragm helps in respiration. Fine. Now next you'll find, let us see now, this is how diaphragm helps. Let's see how exchange of gases takes place in the case of alveoli. You can see this balloon like structures here. These are nothing but the alveoli, as I have told you, like hen's legs. You can see those hen's legs are nothing but the bronchioles. Okay, and at the end of each bronchiole, see this balloon like structure. These balloon like structures are only called as alveoli. Each of them is called as, singular is called as alveolus, many are called as alveoli. So in these alveoli, if you see, blue colored and red colored lines are there, correct? Now these blue colored or red colored lines are nothing but the blood vessels. Okay, our blood vessels are two different colors. Now if you see on your hand or on any body part of yours, you will find that there are some blue colored lines. Do you know what are these blue colored lines? These are nothing but the blood vessels which are carrying impure blood. It is carrying what? Impure blood. Now what type of impure blood? Because this impure blood consists of one gas called as carbon dioxide. So when the blood vessel carries carbon dioxide along with it, the color of the blood vessel is blue. Whereas when the blood vessels carries oxygen in it, then the blood vessels will be red in color. Okay, so these red colored blood carries oxygen, whereas blue colored blood vessels carries carbon dioxide. Okay, and they are all surrounding what? The alveoli, and they are going outside only they are present. Then how this exchange of gases are taking place? The exchange of gases are taking place at the at the membrane, that is outer layer of the alveoli. Okay, and see how gases are moving now outside the layer, outside this alveoli. So you can see the red colored blood cells, okay, which are a disc shape. You can see disc shape, some structures are coming like this, moving from left to right. So first they are brown in color and then they become red in color. So that brown colored, what you can see is actually, or blue colored blood vessels are nothing but they are carrying along with them carbon dioxide, which comes from the other parts of the body and then finally goes into the lungs where alveoli are present. Okay, these blood vessels are going where? Blue colored blood vessels are surrounding the alveoli. So at the level, in the layer, outer layer of the alveoli itself, the exchange of gases are taking place. So this blue colored or brown colored, what you can see is carrying what? Carbon dioxide, which comes from the other body parts. Whereas when it takes in that oxygen, you can see those bubbles, ball like structure which is coming from upper side. They are coming from upper side. That is nothing but the oxygen which is coming from the nose and trachea and then going into each of the alveoli. Okay, so these are going inside the blood cells, and once they goes into the blood cells, those blood cells becomes red. Okay, whereas brown colored cells are giving what? Carbon dioxide on towards upper side. Fine, and in this way the exchange of gases are taking place inside the alveoli, and then from alveoli it goes into the bronchioles, from bronchioles to bronchi, and from bronchi to the trachea, to the trachea, it moves out through the nose and carbon dioxide is given out. Whereas oxygen rich blood from alveoli goes into the lungs, and from lungs they go into the heart, and from heart will start pumping and it will go into the entire body. So this is how exchange of gases, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide, is taking place inside the alveoli. Carbon dioxide is given out of the body due to exhalation, and oxygen is reaching the entire body. Okay, suppose oxygen is not there, then we will not be able to survive even for few seconds. So oxygen is very, very important for us, and our respiratory system is also very important to us. That is why we need to keep our respiratory system very safely. So for that we need to avoid certain things. Now, some of the facts. Dust and smoke are present everywhere in the air and in the atmosphere. So when you are inhaling air, that means this dust and smoke also goes inside your body, right? And not only dust and smoke, you have also learned that the air or atmosphere consists of the various harmful microorganisms, correct? These microorganisms are also entering in our body. Then how is it that we are not always getting ill, or we are not falling ill all the time? It's because there is again, a very good system in our respiration, respiratory system. Why? Because all these, the entire respiratory system is lined by, hair-like structures, and these hair-like structures are called as cilia. So along with these cilia, there is a layer of sticky substance which is also called as mucus. Okay, now this sticky substance, if you realize in your nose, it is always present. Do you know what it is called? Yes, I'm sure you must be knowing what it is called, right? So that mucus along with the cilia, that is hair-like structures, help in filtering the air. Okay, that means whatever dust or smoke which is entering will not go inside the lungs. It will get filtered here above, and it will get accumulated here, and finally you will throw it out from your body, right? So this is how pure oxygen is entering inside your body. So thus harmful substances in air cannot reach the lungs. So this is how, so not such a nice system we have, that is our respiratory system, helps in, so beautifully, right? Now let's see a little further. Now this is very important to know. What are the effects of smoking? Smoking is, whenever you take a packet of a cigarette, okay, it is always written there, smoking is injurious to health. Do you know why it is injurious to health? It's because if one person keeps on smoking over a long period of time, what happens in this cigarette? There are certain substances like called as nicotine and all, which are very toxic ones, okay, toxic substances. And these toxic substances, when you just give out smoke, that smoke enters into your body. Through that smoke, these toxic substances also enter into your lungs, okay. As a result, the air that enters the lungs is not sufficiently purified. That cilia is there, mucus is there to purify the air. But since these toxic substances are getting accumulated in due to smoking, the air is not getting purified, okay, and the impurities in the air begin to accumulate in the lungs. So if you see over here in this picture, you will realize that when you smoke, black colored substance is going and settling inside the lungs. So this black colored substance is almost like the coal tar, dambar, no? So it is like that. So it goes and sticks inside your lungs. And what can happen due to this? Because of this, the lungs loses its capacity to filter air. As a result, the efficiency of the lungs is reduced. The likelihood of getting diseases of the lungs increases. Because of this, what will happen? The diseases of the lungs will increase. And the solid particles which are present in the tobacco is present in the cigarette. So tobacco smoke from the cigarette or bidi form the sticking substance inside the alveoli, and it reduces the amount of oxygen supply to the body. And since oxygen is less, you start panting like this, right? That means you have breathing problem, you get breathing problem. and you cough a lot, and due to coughing, you cannot sit peacefully, sleep peacefully. It's all because of the bad habits or harmful effects of the smoking. So in addition, from toxic substances in the tobacco also enters the alveoli, and these ill effects lead to diseases of the respiratory organs, including life threatening disease like lung cancer. So my dear students, it is your duty to warn your elderly ones, whoever you find smoking in your house, because it is very injurious to health. Fine. Now, not only if you are active smoker you will be having a problem, even if you are a passive smoker also you will have a problem. Now, what is passive smoking? Here in this case you are not smoking, but if someone else is smoking, then also the smoke which is produced by a smoker will enter into your body. And as I've explained to you, that smoke also consists of toxic substances. These toxic substances will enter into your body also, and it will harm you also. That is why there is now a ban on smoking in public places. So my dear students, it is your duty to inform anyone, whoever is smoking, and mention about the ill effects of the smoking. So I hope so you have understood the respiratory system. Now, so in the next video, I am going to explain to you what is meant by digestive system, what are the organs of digestive system. So till then students, bye and thank you.